I live with my brother and I love him. He's 18 years old. I'm 29. I live with my brother. I love him. But let's just say that I am the cleaner one and he is the messier one. Now, that doesn't mean that he's terribly, terribly messy. Do you know what I mean? He's not like messy. He just doesn't, he hasn't obviously learnt yet like what housework actually is. So like I'll do all the hoovering, I wipe the sides down, I try and keep on top of my washing up. We don't have a dishwasher here. I try and keep on top of my washing up like as fast as possible. I basically don't like to let it stack up, and I like to keep it clean because I also know that he's using the kitchen. So any area that's communal, I've learned to sort of be like, okay, this is a shared area. I don't want to leave any mess around because when he steps into this room, I don't want him to have to kind of like deal with my mess or wash something up because he needs it and I've used it type thing. So I try and do my best to stay on top. Do you know what? We all live life, so I'm not that picky, but I am a little bit picky. Do you know what I mean? I've got a little bit picky over the years, and it's kind of funny and it's hard. I've had to sort of like learn to take my own advice, and I've had to really sit and think about this because we've been living together nearly a month now, and it's all good. I love it. Like I couldn't live with him if I didn't gel with him, and he's got a nice, soft, beautiful energy. Like he's a really good kid. So I'm not picking at him, but I'm just making this video because I've learned something in the process of it. And yeah, so he's 18. And I have to think back to when I was sort of 18. This is how I'm managing the situation. When we first got here, let's just say, I don't like to say I'm a control freak, but it was grinding my gears quite a little bit. And I just felt like the insides of me sort of like wanting to sort of burst a little bit because I would see us washing up there and I didn't know how to sort of address it. And I thought, I need to tell him that he needs to do this. I need to tell him that he needs to do that. Like I need to tell him that he needs to be clean. And then, but I'm not really that assertive like that because at the same time, like I know that he's 18, he hasn't learned those skills yet. And those things come in being alone actually. And so, like I think back to when I was even 21, 22, 23. If you live with someone, there's always somebody that's that little bit cleaner. It's higher in their values for cleanliness. And like at one point in my life, I didn't even realise how messy a house got because my partner at the time, she was like super tidy, and she was a little bit older than me as well. So she was more tidy. She'd keep on top of the cleaning. She'd clean the shower room, the bathroom, and all that kind of stuff. It was only when we broke up that I realised, like where dirt gathers, that it gets on the sides, that it gets on the cooker, that the shower needs cleaning. She'd always do it sort of like when she was in the shower. So it always stayed clean. And I remember she'd get a bit peed off at me because sometimes I'll put stuff on the side and she's like, why don't you just put it in the dishwasher? It's right there. I remember her saying that to me. And I just thought like, I don't mind if it's there. Like, you're the one who minds if it's there. And basically what the point was is that like, her values were not the same as my values. And I'm now that was my sort of excuse then. My values aren't the same as yours. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think back to that and I'm like, his values just simply aren't the same as mine. If I care so much about it being tidy, I'm not going to do his washing up for him, but if I care so much about it being tidy, why don't you just wipe the sides down? You haven't got a problem with it. You actually enjoy it. You like it being clean. So why nitpick just to nitpick? Why don't you just do that and enjoy it and have it clean? And even if it does mean you're wiping up a few of his crumbs, you're cleaning the cooker up like, with his marks on it too. Like give her basically. Give her, like, just do it. Like, why not? Like, let him be him. Don't feel like you need to change him. He doesn't need to change. I know he doesn't need to change, but, like, just, you don't need to change him. Let him learn that skill by himself. And obviously be open and stuff like that, because you don't want to be closed and saying, like, or letting an annoyance build up inside of you, but be open. And so what I decided to do with that was like, do you know what? I just got to let it go, really. I'm the one who likes it tidy. I'll do the hoovering. We don't need like a split schedule like to clean. Like, I'll do it. I'll just do it. But there is one thing that I really hate doing, and that's taking the bins out. And, I know that his chore in my mum's house where he just lived was doing the washing, and he'd have to go and take the washing out to the tumble dryer and bring it back in, fold all the clothes and that. And I just thought, do you know what? Why don't you just get rid of that one thing that you hate, give him a task or talk to him and say, look, can you do this for me? And I did, and I just said to him, like, look, I'm obviously more tidy than you are, and I'm the one who likes it like that, so I'm not going to sort of say to you that you need to be doing this, but just be aware that I am doing these things. I'm wiping the sides down, I'm doing the hoovering, I'm cleaning the floors, you know, whatever it is. And what is it? But there is one thing that I hate doing, and that's the bins, and I really appreciate it. Like, I don't know how you feel about it, but I'd really appreciate it if you could just do the bins, because that, to me, is like hell, and I'm happy doing the rest of the stuff. I'm quite good at it, actually. I've got Speedy at it. Boom. Like, why don't I just do that? And he was like, yeah, I'll do the bins. And so he's been taking the bins out. And I'm like, yes. That's like, do you know what I mean? I think that's a win for me. And, his washing up does gather a little bit more than mine. But I've learned to, like, let go and relax and just be like, do you know what? It's just some washing up in the corner there. Whatever. So I'm a little bit like, yeah, I'm a little bit funny about it. And I have my things, like I do, I have my little things that are probably, I'm a bit better at, and some things that I'm not as good at. So yeah. Essentially, I've had to take my own advice. And that advice comes from basically, living with my ex-girlfriend from a while ago. And her being like, you don't tidy up enough. She used to get annoyed at me because I'd leave the towel on the bed, and I just didn't understand that the wet towel on the bed, because she'd always do everything. So I just didn't realise, do you know what I mean, what was really occurring, because she had already clocked it before I had a chance to make a mistake and then clock it, or before I had a chance to actually see it. She was always doing it. So yeah, like, I've got to realise that he'll probably learn that later on in life, when me and him don't live together anymore, when he lives by himself, and he'll start to see what happens, and he'll learn that lesson then. And hopefully he'll be sort of observing me a little bit as well. Like, I maybe didn't observe my partner that much, but now I'm like, oh yeah, I do. Yeah, she was doing that, she was doing that. And I'm also learning from her now. So things like the bathroom and stuff, like kitchen, brilliant, but like now I'm more on top of like doing the bathroom as I go. After she left, I would do it like, a deep clean every couple of weeks or so, but then it would annoy me because it gets dirty quite fast. So now I'm just like, just be on top of it basically all the time, and I'm learning from her, so maybe he'll learn from me in the future, which is kind of cool. So yeah, I'm taking my own advice, and I think everybody has that, where they have a housemate who's messy, or I don't know, doesn't clean up after themselves, and you do need to have some form of a conversation. But it's an interesting thing that I'm finding, like, I've had to let it work both ways. So find something that works for him, and then I'm okay with cleaning up a little bit of mess or doing a little bit extra, but if you can just take that little load there off my back, you know what I mean, and then for me it's just sort of relaxing. He's not awful, like to doesn't do any crazy stuff. He's just a little bit, it just isn't aware, like, that crumbs get left on the side, and when you spill something here, maybe wipe it straight away. But yeah, so it's a learning curve. This has been an interesting one, because at first it like riled me up a little bit on the inside, and now I've managed to find peace, and peace is always the end goal for me. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the progress on that. And yeah, basically understanding that his values are different to mine, and accepting that, and thinking, everybody has to learn in their own way. I don't want to be mad. I don't want to be shouting at him. I don't want him to be upset. I don't want him to feel uncomfortable at home because I'm too, like, picky, So I really just prefer the peace, and I'll take on this responsibility if you just take on that one. And yeah, just letting us be each other really is the thing. So yeah, I think that is, yeah, interesting, because I've really had to learn that, to be honest. And I'm loosening up on living with people, actually. Because your values are always going to, like, sort of misalign in some way, shape or form. So yeah, that is my learning so far. So yeah, living with a messy housemate. He's not that messy, but living with a housemate whose values aren't in alignment with yours. had to make this video because it's something that I'm learning. So anyway, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. If you make it to the end of my videos, always thank you for watching. Do you know what I mean? It does like good things for the channel, so I appreciate that. And obviously it means you find me interesting enough to watch all the way to the end, so that feels nice too. If you're commenting, thank you. I love when you comment. And guys, if you like this video, like it, subscribe to the channel, because literally like content is flooding my head right now, so I'm always feeling like talking and getting on the camera, so there should be a constant flow from now, because a lot seems to be happening in my life, a lot of changes, a lot of thoughts, so that's good. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.